Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to Solid Trades. Welcome to another live video session. Basically, I recently took a losing trade on BA, Boeing, and even though it was a losing trade, it was one of the best trades I took that day because I was able to realize that it was not going to work at all, and I was able to cut losses right away instead of waiting and hoping that it could turn back. So let's look at the trade recording, and I'm going to be doing a live commentary on it and my thought process on it. All right. So here's the recording here on the BA trade. So basically what it is that if you guys been following my channel, I talk about trading trend lines or chart patterns, okay? And in this pattern, I actually realized BA was making a bull flag pattern. So I'm going to show you exactly what. So this is a live trading video. So basically here I'm doing my analysis in the middle of it, and what happened was that here, if you notice here, I'm drawing this pattern. What basically I'm looking at there's this flag pattern forming. See this flag pattern? So this is the flag pattern. What happens when the stock breaks out the flag, it goes up a lot. Okay, so I'm thinking, you know what, okay, so it's looking like a flag pattern. So first thing I do is I'm like, okay, if it breaks out, I'm going to get in at this area. Okay, but before I do that, I'm looking, and I'm finding and making my orders ready and seeing, okay, you know what, my risk would be about $2, $1 here. So I'm getting my order ready for a $1 order, and I'm waiting for the break. Okay, so I'm just waiting for the break. If the break happens, and then I'm gonna get in right here. Okay, so notice it, as soon as it broke out, I entered right here. Okay, I entered right here. Now notice here, because of this brackets that I use, I already have my stop loss. Let's clean this up real quick, and let me just pause this video because there's quite a few lessons here. So notice here, I drew this trend, right? So it's forming this wedge now, okay, and it broke out of this trend. So this is where I entered, and my plan is that now, as long as it stays outside, it should push, and I get my profit targets. But if it does fail, I'm gonna get out. So that's my plan. I have a whole plan, where I'm entering, what I'm doing, where I'm taking profits, and if I'm wrong, what I'm doing. If I'm wrong, where I'm gonna cut losses. Okay. So that being said, let's look at the video here. So now, what's going on is that now this is my P&L. So notice here, I'm up here already, okay, because I got in with 166 shares, because if it does go wrong and I lose, I'm going to lose about $250, which is my risk. Okay, that's how much I was willing to lose before I even entered into a trade. So I already knew how much I was going to lose. All right. So but now see, I'm already up here, but this is not my target. I want to make more than what I'm willing to lose. So there was not enough. So since it was not enough, I'm not taking my profits yet. Okay, now notice here, it's coming down, but as long as it stays outside the trend, you see this trend forming. Okay, as long as it stays outside, I'm holding this trade because the pattern is still valid. Notice here, now it's holding outside. So as long as it holds outside, I'm holding. So now at this time, I'm not thinking, oh, you know what, how much money I'm going to make. I'm thinking, what if it goes against me? What I'm going to do then? Because if it does work, I'm going to make money already, right? But if it does go against me, how can I cut my losses really, really quick? That's all I'm thinking. That's risk management. A good trader is thinking how much money he's going to lose if he's in a trade, and a bad trader thinks how much money he's going to win if he's in a trade. Okay, so notice here, clearly all of a sudden the stock is now working as I thought. Okay, and as soon as it started to fail, I didn't even wait for my stops to hit, because as soon as it failed, this candle happened, I started to take my loss and I started cutting. Now what I do is, normally if I can just hit this flat button here on this thinkorswim, and it can just take me out of the trade right away. So sometimes I just hit the flat button, or sometimes I just take my limit orders and put it down and I get out. So it depends what I'm doing, what's my thought process at that time. But normally I just hit the flat button and it just quickly kicks me out of the trade if something doesn't work right away. Okay, so because of that, I was able to cut my loss really, really small. And now, 120 maybe, so for someone it's big and for someone it's nothing, right? But it depends. Everybody has their own risk level. So If I was right, I would have made about $300 to $400, but if I was wrong, I lost about 120. So it's just the reward was in my favor. Now, looking at this trade hindsight, this was not really an amazing trade, but if you look at it on the 15-minute chart, the stock has been downtrending, right? And it's been downtrending. So what happens is that when the stock does go up, what happens is that all the people who are stuck, here before when the stock was going down, they sell the stock. So what happens when the stock goes up, they are selling. So that's why the trend really didn't work very well. Now there are a few things that I want to talk about here is that no matter what your strategy is, right, it could be working any strategy. It doesn't matter that this is the strategy. Whatever the strategy is, you need to know where your stop loss is. So important. And then on top of it, you need to understand your position size. So I knew what if I had gone in 1,000 shares, and if I would have gone just down $1 because it was looking so good, I could have gone in with a very big position, and if it would have gone down $1, I would have been down $1,000. Now that's not something I'm willing to lose, right? So you need to understand your risk management, your position size. That's number one. The number two is that I have done this 100 times. That's why I know. So practice is just so important. Go and practice as much as you can, and if you don't have enough experience, use very small size. Now, only way you can cut losses quick if you have a plan beforehand. I talked about, right? So I already had a plan. If I'm wrong and if it breaks, I'm out. My plan is that the flag pattern, when the flag pattern breaks out, right, the stock goes up. It doesn't come back down inside. So that was my plan, right? So it was my plan. I had a complete plan. Now, another cool thing is that if you can cut your losses quick. I remember that day I actually ended up positive that day, and the reason why, because I was able to cut this loss really quick. Okay, and then when a good trade came, I actually made all the way back. And by the way, let me show you what happened here. So look here what happened actually at the end. Let me just forward it real quick, and this is what happened. Now notice here, I entered here, right, at the flag break, right, and look, when it failed, what happened? Just crashed. And even it came back up right the same area, because all the people who got long here, who bought the stock thinking it's a good bull flag, when it came back, they got out. And then look, the huge sell-off. Okay, so imagine if I was holding the stock, and actually that day the stock actually went down even further. It went down even more, like it went down like $20 more, and I had 150 shares something, so I would be down over 2 to 3 grand on this, instead of just losing 120 and move on and finding another good trade. You see how important it is to cut loss quick, right? So if you understand, it's just the most important part. If you just do this part, I guarantee you will be consistently profitable, because there's just no way that you can lose money. There's just no way that you can lose consistent money, because even if you write 50 to 40% of the time, you'll still end up making money, because when you cut loss quick. Okay, and the another last point that I want to talk about is sending out alerts. So if you're waiting on alerts on people, right? People who are if you're waiting on alerts and be like, hey, you know what, I'm gonna wait if somebody when they cut a loss, then I'm gonna cut a loss. Guys, let's say that even if I say, hey, buy here, and even if I say, hey, you know what, I'm cutting losses. So look how quickly it just went down. So if you don't realize yourself and you don't cut losses by yourself, and if I alert, hey, I'm cutting losses, by the time you see it, by the time you react, you'll be down here, and you'll be down huge. Okay, so never ever rely on alerts. Alerts is not really good. I do send out alerts, but it's only so that you can see, hey, what's going on. So I send out before the stocks even break out, so hey, you can plan the trade accordingly. Okay, but it's very important to understand, hey, what to get in, where to put average stop loss, and where to take profit targets. All right, guys, so I hope you learned something from this video. I'll see you guys in the chat tomorrow.